Welcome, everybody, to episode 27 of the Wrestling Hypothesis podcast, here for your Saturday, July 18th, 2020. I am the A.B.A, of course. Joining me, as always, is Ricardo.
What's up, guys?
King and Kenny.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And the first lady of the show, the lovely Tara.
Hello, beautiful people.
Yeah, Richard is unable to join us this week, but he will be back for us next week. As you guys know, this podcast is available to listen to on various different podcast platforms out there, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, Breaker, RadioPublic, Google Podcasts, and our own YouTube channel. Go on and give us a subscribe over there, I should say, to make sure that you guys are up to date for any bonus content coming your way, as well as regular episodes such as this one. We'll be pushing this one out to YouTube before anywhere else. If you are listening via Apple Podcasts, please be sure to give us a star rating, as well as some feedback on what you think of our show. Anything positive, negative, whatever, doesn't matter. Just let us know what you guys think of the show. And if you haven't done so already, you can check out any of our older episodes in the archives using any of the podcasts I mentioned earlier, platforms, and as well as visiting our own website, anchor.fm/wrestling-hypothesis.
It's okay to let us know who's right. And I know sometimes you just really want to say it's me, but we'll leave that for another day.
Damn, so you really going there now. Okay, all right, well, you know what?
I'm encouraging our fans to be very much involved.
Yes, but you're encouraging them to, tell lies.
No, you can never lie.
Okay. Well, before we start the show, today's a very special, I'm sorry.
No, go.
Okay, today's a very, very special day because, these type of days only come once in a lifetime, right? So I would just like to raise a shot or glass or whatever you're drinking to A.B.A on his 21st birthday, man. Special, bro. You're like a brother to us, man. In these past few years, we became like family. So
thank you.
We love you, man. We appreciate everything you do for us. And this
Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
And anybody could have followed that really quickly, if anything, whoever's watching.
It's just
now. Yes. Now let's get the show moving so I can kick your asses. All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
It's one of those weeks. Oh,
let's go. Oh, it's always that time of week, man. What you talking about?
How could I forget? Right.
What?
Ricardo got a stretch for that.
Yeah,
don't sleep on me, man. Shoot, he can stretch all he wants, man. He know he's taking his L. Come on.
Okay, please.
All of last night, I was just practicing my voice just so it can be beautiful when I deliver the truth.
All right, A.B.A, let's go, bro.
We're all practicing. Let's do this, guys.
Fired up.
We're gonna get the show running this week with the news on WrestleMania for next year. WrestleMania 37 was set to take place in Los Angeles, California in April next year. That is not happening. That doesn't appear to be happening anymore. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, we all know that large gatherings have all been canceled pretty much anywhere in the world right now. And the mayor of Los Angeles came out and publicly announced that events of such won't be occurring for the next year. And that includes WrestleMania within that time frame. Now, it appears that the city of Tampa in Florida will benefit from LA's ruling, as there is a strong possibility that WWE will end up taking the WrestleMania event next year to there. And honestly, this isn't that surprising, given that they are still much more lenient with these rules, despite Florida practically being the new epicenter of the virus in this country now. And Tampa did miss out on hosting WrestleMania 36 just this past year, when the pandemic came about literally a month prior to the event. So this may be a way to make up for that.
Yeah, I'm sleeping on this news, man, simply because it has little to do about nothing. They're making some crazy, news that, oh yeah, we're gonna have WrestleMania, and it's gonna be in LA instead of Who cares, man? Who cares? Like, there's so much shit going on right now that you can't even, I don't even know what the hell's gonna happen in two months. SummerSlam, is SummerSlam gonna happen? Summer, like, we don't even know if SummerSlam's going to happen. And you're like talking about WrestleMania now. It really doesn't make any sense. So I'm sleeping on this news, man. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, like they could talk all they want to, but even they know the unpredictable factor is there, especially since the COVID-19 shit is going down. So like, I don't know what will happen or of what they're going to do with WrestleMania and like what Kenny said, SummerSlams. So, or any other upcoming events that they said they might pull out. So it is what it is. So I'm like, in terms of WrestleMania, I'm like, okay, now go somewhere else. It's like no big deal to me.
Honestly, I don't care about this news because, first of all, WWE, I'm not even thinking about your next pay-per-view. I'm not thinking about the one 20 years from now, okay? Okay?
Tara just being straight up right now.
We don't care about any storyline right now, so next news.
That's right. But, you know, this did catch my attention to some extent. Like, I definitely see where you guys are coming from with the whole, with the idea of SummerSlam not even being up in the air right now and their plans for it. And it's literally next month. And this upcoming, and tomorrow night, I believe it is, Extreme Rules.
Right.
They're not going to have, like, there's nothing to care about for that show. And it's literally tomorrow. That's literally the last pay-per-view before SummerSlam. So, and we still don't know what they have planned for that event.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been reading some stuff and I'm just like, they need to hire a new team ASAP. I know you're not supposed to be hiring during this whole COVID season, but they need to hire a new team ASAP.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't care if it's on the low.
They definitely need better monitoring towards these kind of situations for sure. So I don't know if this is just a case of building towards something in the future or it just won't end up going anywhere, but Britt Baker took to Twitter to respond to Cody's tweet promoting his open challenge next week for the TNT Championship, basically calling out anybody on the AEW roster to answer that open challenge for him to face next week on Dynamite. And she tweeted, "Fight me, Cody." Now, Baker isn't cleared as of yet to go back to in-ring action, and it might be a while before that happens. So unless the severity of the injury was exaggerated to surprise all of us a little later on, I don't see that happening. But I will say the whole intergender wrestling topic in the industry has always been pretty divisive, with people having a hard time buying into the females being able to tough it out with the at times much larger men for a good 10, 15 minutes. And just to start it off here, like, because I'm sure everyone here has their own conflicting opinions on that. I'd have to agree with that stance. I don't think intergender wrestling should be a regular occurrence. And here's why. Here's where I'm looking at it. In wrestling, there's only so much you can suspend your disbelief when watching. You're not going to enjoy watching wrestling if you are ticked off very easily and nitpick all the flaws of whatever show it is you're watching. And I could say, when I was younger, it was something unique to me. The idea of watching the women toss it up with the men and look very competitive in the process. That's why I enjoyed it initially. It was something I've never seen before. Over time, though, I don't really buy into it anymore. Maybe it's the idea of a 100-pound, 5'2" female wrestler giving someone like the stature of, Randy Orton his absolute limit. It's not realistic to the average person. Now, mixed tag matches I can tolerate when the men and women mix it up there, because really, how often do we see those anymore? But seeing that kind of stuff on the regular, I don't think so.
I mean, you bring up some really, really valid points, and I can't really knock them. But you did say that the topic can be very divisive, and this is going to be very divisive because Cody has created this type of mystique, right, around the title, saying that he's going to defend it every time. Not only did he do that, not only did AEW back him on that, they even went one step further and, pretty much established this title as a non-division title, which means it's not, predicated on rankings. You don't have any rankings. You don't have any sort of, opponents. Anyone can challenge for this title, right? You didn't say any man can. You said anyone. So now, you've created this thing around the championship belt, and now this is what you have. This is the result of that. Okay, and this is actually I'm gonna steal Tara's point of view here from last week, right? This is evolution at its finest. Okay, this is exactly what it's supposed to be, right? Like, think about it.
I'm going to steal Ricardo's words. My guy.
Yeah. And you know what else is very interesting about this? Tessa Blanchard, right? Say what you will about her, but she was the TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
She was. That's right.
Right? That's and last time I checked, that those titles usually belong to a man or a male wrestler. So right. Like, I mean, come on, guys. What are we? 1999, 2000?
I mean, agree.
Where have you been living? Under a fucking rock? Even if you lived under a rock, you still wouldn't make that assumption. So to me, this is perfect. This is fine. Yeah, I think they should definitely go along with it. And if anyone can execute this perfectly, come on, man. It's AEW.
I made that point last week on where they need to be more creative as far as how they're going about the women's division. And I kept saying, like, you know, maybe they should. And one of my points that off of this show that I made to Kenny was they should have like more female matches where they actually display the females more instead of having just one segment. And I think having an intergender title, it would be done perfectly because you're also showcasing your women. And it's a foreign concept in America, but in Japan, we've seen a lot of these Japanese wrestlers, especially in WWE. You had Asuka, you had freaking Kairi Sane, you had all these women battling men in Japan, and it's a common thing there. Like,
well, Tara, let me ask you.
Well, hold up. Let her finish.
No, I'm saying, like, these aren't fragile women. These aren't women that don't work out. These are women that actually are in the gym conditioning their bodies and that can actually lift and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure, like, if you have practice, like, it's not like they go into a ring facing off with, you know, just some 500-pound man. Like, I feel like if you do this properly and you train properly, why not? Like, why would it not be a good concept? Like, it can literally be something that's great.
I know what you're about to say. I got you, bro. Okay.
What?
Tara, you are right in terms of how the women condition themselves, how they train themselves, how they train themselves with other wrestlers in the W Performance Center or in the gym or whatever, right? But I don't think you could compare the stuff that they do in Japan that they do here.
Yes.
And the women that they fought with in Japan against the men, they've been doing that since jump. They've already used to that form of physicality. Where in terms of here, if a female fights a guy in, like you said, AEW, if a woman fights a guy like Britt Baker versus Cody Rhodes, can you question if Britt Baker can handle the physicality of a Cody Rhodes, or if another female can fight a Jack Hager for the TNT Championship and stuff like that? You got to question. There's certain things that a female could take from a high physical wrestler. And I'm not to say that women are weak, because don't get me wrong, because they're not. I'm just saying, like, it will make you question if they could truly handle the physicality of the guys, because not everyone is like Asuka. Not everyone's like Tessa Blanchard.
Exactly.
Not everyone's like Ronda Rousey.
Not everyone's conditioned to be that type of force.
Not everybody's
like that. Yeah.
Hold up.
Okay. You're not finished. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. And in terms of now, I gotta go back to what I was saying. Like, if it was 1999 or the 2000, the Attitude Era, you got me, because you actually seen it. And don't get me wrong, it was entertaining. And it's not too bad to see it once in a blue moon in this era. But if you're doing it continuously, that shit's gonna, I think it's gonna, like, the popularity is gonna go down. People's gonna question the dynamic of how they do things in wrestling and stuff like that. And I think it might go down. It might not be good in a way.
Okay, well, Kenny, I got this. Okay, so here's the thing. We're not talking about WWE because WWE can never do this tastefully. They tried to.
I never said WWE.
Championship, and that was a wreck.
I never said WWE.
What makes them different is they were with New Japan. A lot of the
Okay.
wrestlers, and Kenny Omega has a great extensive knowledge as far as Japanese wrestling and stuff like that. They have the knowledge of like how to train these women when it comes to actually fighting with men. Like they know how that concept works. And I'm not saying like put them off the rip into a ring with a man. Like I'm saying like obviously they need to be cleared to see that their body could handle the physicalities and stuff like that. But however, I think it's a feasible thing to have an intergender title. I don't think as far as like it being for entertainment value, like I think it's more for like a progressive value, because I mean it's the same thing.
Both.
The same thing as like men freaking going for one title or women going for a title. It doesn't really make a difference if anyone can go for a title. I don't think there needs to be like a shock value there for it to happen.
But you said like, yes, Kenny Omega have seen and witnessed knows the knowledge of what they've been doing in New Japan. You got that. But like, as I said earlier, not all, only if there was a few females that I would say they could take the physicality of a guy in AEW, I would say Nyla Rose could take it. I would say Nyla Rose could take it. And who's the current AEW Women's Champion?
Hikaru Shida. I
say she could take it because I've actually seen her fight with men. She's actually not that bad, right? But like, but that's what I'm saying. She adopted that because she came from a company that used to do that. While you have a myriad of females in AEW that hasn't went through that. But she has experience compared to them.
But if they're going through training, and that's what they're training to do.
No, because but in training, people hold back. In wrestling, you're in the ring. You can't hold back in the wrestling ring. When the lights are on, you can't do that. In training, whenever a person trains with another person, they're either teaching the person, or whenever they're sparring, they hold back because they don't want that person to get hurt. But if it's in the wrestling ring, that's a match. You can't hold back.
So I've heard enough of what you got to say, Ricardo, because this is. I mean, come on, bro. Really? Okay. What? Let me school you on the fact that you're so dead wrong on this. If this were the Attitude Era, right? Women back then, like there is nothing you can tell me, man. Women today are way much more physically talented, much more better in terms of what they do, you know, outside of the ring, how they keep their bodies in shape. Listen, man, I got you beat there, man. As far as physicality goes, women today can handle more physicality than way back then.
We agree.
And if you're the thing is, like, even as far as like training, like you have to test it out somewhere, like some way, some point. But I'm pretty sure if you're signing up for it, like, you know what you're going up against, and you're training, taking the proper procedures to train against that. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some kind of clearance regardless of what it is.
Y'all, we agree. I agree with Kenny in terms of what he said about the Attitude Era, and in terms, I obviously highlighted Kenny that the women are more physically built now than they were back then.
But I was only alluding to your point that you made earlier about the Attitude Era being, you know, more physically, you know, dominant era, a more physically dominant era than, you know, the era that we're in right now.
No,
yeah. If you look at it face value, it was a much more physically dominant era. But what does being physically dominant have to do with women fighting men? It has absolutely. It
makes it more realistic.
But I'm saying there's no correlation there. I'm saying those two things are not mutually exclusive. You don't have to engage in a physical fight, right? A woman doesn't have to be engaged, at least in a wrestling ring, with the male superstar in a physical fight for her to like. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
so okay,
Britt Baker. Look. Let me give you a perfect example. Britt Baker got a nose busted, right, by Hikaru Shida.
Yeah.
Right? Another female talent, right? But if she fights Cody, right, that's most likely not going to be the case. So what are you trying to get here?
How do you know that?
I know that because Come on, man. This is Cody.
Well,
Like, he's
by
the safest
default,
person in the fucking company.
No.
more
How do
likely
you know that?
the male wrestlers fighting these female talent in the ring, they're gonna want to hold back. It's just
Exactly.
it's just their instinct.
Right. But hold up. But that's fine though. That's fine though. Like, bro,
No,
it's
fine
wrestling.
because
They
it's
all
wrestling
hold
in the
up,
end.
hold up.
Exactly.
Right. But they all hold back at some, like, bro, you're not gonna legitimately punch a female in the face, but you don't do that with men either.
Man, I'm not even basing it off of that. We're just, what Ricardo's getting at and what I'm getting at is the fact that just looking at it, just looking and me perceiving it that it's fair. I don't think so, because men have this drive in their
Right.
body. Like they have the testosterone. They
Men
have the
are more
muscle. They have
physically
the
dominant
That's
than
right.
But the women just can't. That on average, the women just can't match.
That's fine. That's fine. And I can't.
The thing
Right.
is, we're not looking at WWE divas. Like, we're looking at women that have literally.
No. We got
I'm even
that.
saying that about the women
No,
today.
but we've been saying that. You gotta stop bringing WWE.
But you're trying to make it seem like they're
Yes.
not gonna look as realistic.
Exactly.
It's not gonna be feasible.
No.
But it is what we're saying.
I don't think so.
Me and A.B.A obviously acknowledge they're more physically, that the women are more physically fit than way back then. We got that, and they're by far more talented. That's a fact. But so have the guys. Okay? And I'm saying we're not sleeping on what the women can't handle.
Hold up.
We are saying that, like, we wouldn't want to see a woman facing a man in a wrestling match, especially in a generation where it's highly sensitive of that. Highly sensitive. Back then, they didn't give two shits.
I mean, yeah, that, like, I can't, like.
But then it also brings up that point, like, why can't a woman do anything that a man can? I mean,
No, we're not questioning that. You see, I never said that. We
No, hold up. You never said that, but trust me. The way you explained it, right? It sounded exactly like that. And this is look. I know you didn't say that, okay? No. But you're clearly saying that women shouldn't be, right, fighting with men in a ring, right? That's fine. But I'll challenge you on this topic, right? Because I think it's very important that I do, right? We bring up the joshi style of fighting because it's very real. Like that is the purest version of what AEW is trying to do. Like AEW is trying to incorporate this joshi style into their programming, right?
Yes.
And Britt Baker fighting someone like Cody, right? That's not far-fetched. Like that's something that we should expect to see, right? You wanted that smoke. You've laid out that blueprint, right? Literally. You said
I may have to see it to believe it.
This is what we want. We've laid out the blueprint. Now follow through. They have to follow through, right? You've created the title. Like, think about it. You've literally created a title for everybody.
And the thing is, like, I feel like at the same time, like, we've seen, like, many instances, and that's why when we bring it back to Japan, like, you can't say, like, well, I mean, yeah, but they've been conditioning and that's what they're used to. At a certain point, they were training and they weren't used to it. They had to literally get used to it to be a norm for them. I'm saying that they could do that and incorporate that same kind of training and have their women do it. I mean, it's a foreign concept because we don't do it here.
Yeah, but the thing is, that type of training is voluntary. The act is voluntary. The woman would have to want to do that in AEW. They're gonna have to want to do that.
First of all, what makes you think they don't want the smoke? What makes you think they don't want to compete?
No. We never questioned if they want to compete. I said they're gonna have to want to fight the men.
They do, bro.
One female said that. One female said that.
Okay, all right. So right now, at this very moment, you don't think that Hikaru Shida, right? Even Riho, the smallest female we've ever seen in the wrestling that I've ever seen in wrestling, at least up to this point, right? You don't think they want the smoke? You don't think they've been fighting in New Japan for years and years and years, waiting for a moment to fight against a big star like Cody or an Omega? And you don't think they'll jump at that? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you out of your mind?
I'll give that to them. Yeah, Riho and Hikaru Shida.
This is literally what they've been doing since they were like 8 years old, bro.
We're not denying that. We're just saying that not everybody is like a Riho and a Hikaru Shida.
I understand
That's
that,
what I'm saying.
but guess what? But these
stories aren't just dropped on them. They literally, it's something that they bring to creative, and then they figure it out. That's what I'm saying. Like, if they're doing some training, it's going to be obviously like screened as far as like who wants it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm training to fight men, I want to fight men on TV. I don't want to just use my talents and be with.
I get that. But to go back to Ricardo's point, and I think he's right on the money with this, that it has to be something that you have to be, how do you say, pre-programmed in a sense to want to do that from the jump. Like, you can teach that all you want, but it's never going to fully be there because they've been so programmed, so conditioned to fight the women, you know? It has to be something that's from the beginning.
Because
if I don't like someone, I'm going to fight them regardless. I don't care if you.
There has to be something.
You're the next challenge in my life. I'm gonna go after that.
It has to be something from the beginning. That's your comeback.
Yeah.
Okay, when you're mad at someone.
Come on.
No, I'm serious. I am serious about that.
You know, I expected a better defense from you, bro. I expected that's something I expected Ricardo to say, because he doesn't get the Joshi style, and he's not accustomed to that. But you, on the other hand, you watch New Japan, so you should know. You should know better than that. Like,
listen,
bro,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying that in terms of the Joshi style, looking at that style of wrestling, it's a sense where you get the sense that they know what they're doing when they're with the men. They're giving them the fight of their lives. They're taking them to the absolute limit. You try to teach that here, the American style, and try to tie that in with the American style, it's not going to work as effectively. That's where I'm coming from.
Well, okay, so in this case, not all women have to do it, but at the same time, I can give you at least 3 or 4 women in that roster that can go toe to toe with those guys.
And
but what about that's great? That is great. What about on the regular?
But that's not what we're talking about, though. We're not talking about.
Well, you guys were mentioning something about.
Guys, time out. This has to do with Cody's title, right?
If the TNT title should be intergender.
Exactly. Okay.
We're also looking at the overall discussion of intergender wrestling.
Look. The intergender wrestling thing only works if there's somebody to challenge for it.
Yes,
right now, we have all admitted, right, that there are at least 2 or 3 females on that roster that can, right?
I agree to that.
We agree.
Exactly.
I agree to that.
Exactly. So should it be? Yes, because there are challenges for it.
Listen, do I expect to see at some point Nyla Rose challenging, accepting Cody's open challenge thing? Yes, I do. I could definitely see that happening. It could even happen next week for all I know. But that's the exception to the rule, not the standard.
Why are you? I feel like, but I don't think that makes sense though, because I feel like if I'm a woman and I feel like I'm physically capable of taking on someone like Cody Rhodes and I want to challenge him, why should I not be given that chance to go against him?
Listen, maybe it's just me. I'm just looking at it more from WWE side of things, like how they would book it.
And that's the problem, man.
It's not
that's
WWE,
the problem.
bro.
That's no, because I think you fall. Hold up, Ricardo. I think you fall under that category too, right? Because you guys are looking at it from a skewed perspective. You're used to watching wrestling from a certain type of point of view, right?
But maybe it's not even. But just to add to it. You guys, anyone here used to watch Lucha Underground when it was on? They had intergender wrestling, like on the regular. You look at them as a big example. I used to watch that. I used to watch their show weekly when it was on, and I was never fully invested in the whole men on female violence and vice versa. It never drew me in like that because they had the smoke and mirrors to make it as effective as possible.
I think you're looking at it from like an American standard, like on a relational standard, as opposed to like an actual professional standard. Like this isn't. I know, like it sounds weird to say, like, oh, it looks weird for a man to beat a woman or blah 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 blah, but it's different. It's a profession. Like you're going in as a match. Like this is a match against two people, and if those two people are skilled enough to go at it, there shouldn't really be a problem because it's a match. It's not like whenever people get injured, they're not going in it with the intent of like literally giving someone a broken nose or giving someone a broken limb. They're going in with the intention of this is a professional match and we're going to see who outdoes the other person as far as strength, as far as technicality, as far as storytelling, all of that. And that's what this is. And I feel like if a female can bring all of that and a male can bring all of that, and it's a good match. It's kind of like you can make the whole entire argument like Spud in the WWE. There's a lot of females stronger than him, and he still faced a lot of big men. Like it doesn't really make a difference. Like honestly, I feel like if there are some really talented female wrestlers, and I feel like it's more so on training. It's not something that you're programmed with. It's on training. If I train to do something and I want to do it, I get better with it as I go along, like as if anything, but it's with training. I feel like if you get the training and you do it.
Are you conditioned to do that training? Not every female performer out there is.
Right, and
we've
admitted that. And look,
we've admitted that.
We've admitted that. That's why I only point to 2 or 3 females that can actually do that, right?
And I said they have to
be more influenced by the joshi style of wrestling.
Right. But guys, you got to look at it from this way, right? If a female, because I anticipate that a female will challenge for that title. When a female does, right, it automatically, no matter what you may think, it automatically from that moment becomes an intergender championship belt. Yes. From that moment. So whatever you think, right, otherwise goes out the window, right?
I would say this
because from that point it becomes an intergender championship belt.
I would say this, like I'm saying based on what Kenny's point on the intergender match. If that were to happen either sooner or later, it's you remember Kenny last week what we said about Vince being doing a chess move. This could potentially be a chess move as well, because if this works out well, no matter the one who comes in first for the TNT title, possibly, it's something AEW will have on the table that WWE will never do, right? And with that, evolution. Exactly. And the thing, and you know what the thing is? Exactly. It will trump evolution as a whole.
Hold up, Ricardo. Whose side are you on, man?
No. First of all,
whose side are you on, man? Stop. Jumping shit, man. Are you flaking, bro?
No. First of all, no. First of all, in my own words, I obviously agreed with A.B.A. But
yes,
I'm not,
you did. But I don't know, man.
But hold on.
This makes you seem like you're on our side, man.
No. I said what I said. Man. I said what I said. All right. I said what I said. But I did say if this happens, it's
exactly. Right. Exactly. And see that's why you lost. Right. But that's why you lost though, because that was our point too. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things, this is evolution. Like see, guys, this is where my consistency, and I think y'all should give me credit for it. Consistency matters here. If I'm for women getting a shot at something, right? And like I'm for women getting the Evolution pay-per-view, first of all. Like I'm for that. Like if it highlights your skills, even if you don't think that those women should be on top, if it highlights their skills, brings in more notoriety to the division, I'm all for it. But this one in particular, what AEW is trying to do, right? And I think somebody put her up to, sending that tweet to Cody, like, yo, listen, I want a shot at that title, right? I think somebody in AEW actually did that, like actually, act her on to, send a tweet there, because now it gets people talking. Now it's like, oh, maybe shit, we don't have a legit division for this title. right? And anyone can on the AEW roster can, technically challenge for it. So, like this is the better version. This is the better version. Well, I don't want to say 24/7 title, but this is what an intergender championship.
Well, let me tell you about. Okay, so the 24/7 champion title. You know why it wasn't serious? Because I felt like it was some. Like, even when the women did compete, it was on some sexist shit. Because Carmella really, like...
Oh, yeah, we agree there.
The women that won, like, they won it based off of, like, their sexual appearance, like, their sexual need or whatever, the appearance that...
Yeah, that's true.
Towards them. It wasn't on
Look at Maria Kanellis for that. I remember.
Right.
So, I feel like with this, it's done tastefully because it's like, I want to fight you. Like,
exactly.
I really want to fight you. And I think it's different because it's like, it's actually... This is what I was talking about as far as when I was talking about this whole evolution thing before on how they should have like more women segments and stuff like that. This is like the best way to kind of really show off your female's skills. Like if I'm facing a talented, like a male at that, if I'm facing a male, that's number one. I gotta be talented as shit. Number two, if I pull that shit off and win, you got a new level of respect for me where you look at me and you're just like, yo, I really fucks with this. I really fucks with her because that's cool as hell that she was able to do X, Y, and Z. It showcases more of your female talent because now it's not just one segment, it's just the female segment or, I'm by my man's side in the ring. Now there's a purpose for me here. I'm a wrestler. I'm there because I'm wrestling.
Exactly. And the beauty of this, and I'll finish my point by saying this is, women have been overlooked especially in the wrestling, industry, like for getting by on their looks and everything like that. Like this, if you're essentially saying, okay, look, we want to represent our females in the best way possible and put them on the same level and recognize them on the same level
as our men.
As our men, like that's a new level of respect right there. And that's a new level of respect that no other female division in any promotion has been able to do. Ever.
This is a new challenge. And that's why I think that's why the title is so perfect because no matter how you want to look at it, you could be champion, but once you go for that title, that's like a new level in your career. That's a notch in your belt. And
Cody will put them over he will put them over.
Cody's a master at this. Yes, we know that.
And what better way to put over your females than having them go after a men's championship a championship that was initially for men.
Listen, maybe I'm going to end it by saying this. Maybe in a certain sense, it would work. Absolutely. It just depends on a number of factors. The style of wrestling you're giving me that the females are putting in there against the men, and to an extent, size. Because let's be honest, size is really important. Because you're not going to see, like I said earlier when I was bringing up this argument, you're not going to see someone who's literally 5 foot even, 90 pounds, going against someone like who's 6'4", 6'5", closer to 7 feet, and giving them. Oh no, man,
that Rio match against Nyla Rose was pretty good. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you gotta give credit where it's due. At the end of the day, like a lot of these women, like they might be tiny, but I think it's really genetics. But I feel like as far as power goes and as far as strength, and there's different ways that you could combat size.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think it's.
Listen, you can. Listen, you can.
Rey Mysterio faced the great Khali. All right. Rey Mysterio faced the great Khali when Khali was in his prime, bro. All right. If you can pull that off.
Was Rey Mysterio beating the great Khali?
But listen, they pulled it off though. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, they pulled it.
Right. If they
can pull it off, they have the smoke and mirrors for it.
Right.
No, better.
All you need, like, you don't need, the women to win. You don't all you need is just a good, decent match that everyone can get behind and say, okay, all right, listen, some of these females got it.
Okay.
All right. That's what we need. We just need people to start talking about it, right? Because this is not going to be over.
Listen, it's always going to be. It's a guaranteed talking point. I'm not going to deny that.
Okay.
You're putting them all in one division as opposed to just dividing it. It's just these are my wrestlers. This is my roster. This is my team.
Right.
And I feel like this title it's going to make a change as far as like, I feel like in a few years from now, like if they pull it off well, like this can be like a new norm and a new stepping stone.
Yep.
But either way, I feel like I don't think there would be a female that would be opposed to the idea, because like I said, it's a whole new notch in your belt.
Yeah.
Saying that I can fight men, like, do you remember how great like it was like with Beth Phoenix and even Natalia when they were like going against men, and that was what they were known as? It was just that one token girl that was like, oh, she's so big and blah 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 blah. Like to be able to say I can be in the same ring as a man, that's a whole new world.
Yep.
Right, but to those listening out there, those are our stances on the whole topic of intergender wrestling. We'll be posting a poll up on our Instagram story over on our Wrestling Hypothesis account. So asking you guys what you guys think of this. So be sure to vote and give us your thoughts.
That's going to be, I feel like it's going to be very close, the polls.
I feel so too. Like I said, it is a very divisive topic. Like you can go either way with that.
Yeah.
Moving on here with the news. Kevin Owens is in the news this week, as according to various reports, it appears as though the prize fighter has met up with Triple H and Vince McMahon to discuss the idea of him going back to NXT and having another run there. We're not exactly sure what they are thinking with that idea. Maybe they both are in favor of sending Owens down there in hopes of combating AEW in the ratings department. Or maybe they, and probably just Vince if we're being honest, want to just keep Kevin where he is currently on Monday Night Raw and have another top name over there, honestly. And Kevin Owens on NXT is a great idea. He can boost up the main event scene on that brand, or do the same for the North American title scene as well, depending on what they would want to do with him. Either way, it is a huge plus for them if they decide to do this, provided that they do it right, of course.
Oh, of course, provided that they do it right. But are they going to do it right? I mean, it remains to be seen. You know, like, did you think that they did Charlotte's move right? You know, depending on that, like, do you think they're currently doing Finn Balor's move right? You know, it just seems to me that this whole, you know, move into NXT thing from the main roster has been kind of lackluster,
to say the least.
It really has been. You know, like Finn Balor with Charlotte, with you know, with now, you know, rumored Kevin Owens. I like, does NXT really need that? No, they really don't. So, like, I bet a new star, right? Like a new free agent would probably make as big a splash on NXT than a Kevin Owens coming back to NXT. Look, I'm not saying it's not going to be a good thing for NXT, but I just think, you know, this whole main roster moving back to NXT from the main roster thing has been kind of, you know,
it's iffy.
Yeah.
Well, I understand why Kenny would think that, because he makes valid points about what Charlotte and Finn Balor, etc., and bringing to the main roster. But I honestly think if they brought Kevin Owens to the NXT roster, I think it'll be a good thing, because I think it will elevate the championships that needs to be pushed. Like Keith Lee just became the double champion as North American champion and NXT champion, right? I would if Kevin Owens came back to the scene, I think he'll help the other stars like a Damian Priest and others to elevate their game in NXT, as well as the matches that we would want to see, especially in a guy in Kevin Owens who never got a true significant run because he got let go early because they pushed him to the main roster in order to make him face John Cena. We all know that Kevin Owens' departure in NXT was rushed. He never got like a definitive run in NXT, right? So I feel like if he went back to NXT and let's say hypothetically he won the North American title, he will elevate the stars, elevate the matches, and bring more viewership to the brand.
No, I definitely get where you're coming from on that. But the thing is, you know, essentially Kevin Owens traded a fucking a hamburger for a steak. You know.
Yeah.
He went from being NXT champion to feuding with John Cena on the main roster.
Right.
I don't know, man, but feuding with John Cena on the main roster is just as good, if not better, than the NXT champion, at least at that time. And
John
getting
Cena's
a big
championship
win.
other than itself.
And you got to remember, Cena was at probably the best version of himself during that time, because he was United States champion. So, he went from being, relatively nobody on a relatively low scale show at that point, even though NXT was really, really great at that point. But, no one really knew about it. It was just on its early stages. He went from that to being, a main event star on the main roster.
Pinning John Cena.
Pinning John Cena 1, 2, 3. I remember that like it was yesterday. So his career, right, really, really, really took off. Like, he had probably the best first few years, maybe 2 years, 2 years of Kevin Owens, time on the main roster. Really, 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 it was comparable to almost anyone. So to me personally, NXT really doesn't need him, because
I just want to clarify. I did read the news, and it's his personal choice to go to NXT because he feels he can be the point person that puts NXT back on the map as far as making it big now that it's on USA. So I just want to clarify that.
Oh, please. Come on, Kevin. Come on, man.
He asked Vince himself to go.
The thing about that is, and listen, I don't doubt Kevin Owens' talent. I will never do such a thing. But Karrion Kross right now, he's better than Kevin Owens. Okay? And gives I can name Tommaso Ciampa is better than Kevin Owens right now. Johnny Gargano is better than Kevin Owens right now. I'm sorry. But obviously, Adam Cole is better than, Kevin Owens right now. Should I go on? Is that good enough? Kevin Owens thinking that he could, take NXT over the top. Come on, bro. Keith Lee, the current, double champ right now, he's better than Kevin Owens. He has more talent in his pinky. Well, he has more talent in his hand than Kevin Owens has in his entire body. Well, so to me personally, Kevin Owens ain't putting nobody over. I'm sorry, man. But if Finn Balor, okay, fine, I'll stop. I'll stop. I wanted to go crazy, but I'll stop.
In terms of Kevin Owens, all the names that you just said, you could say now that they're not doing anything right now, right? Because Ciampa has been MIA. Gargano isn't really doing anything. Yes, Keith Lee just became NXT World Champion, but we also discussed last week are how they need to be careful with Keith Lee because he's hit or miss, right? So I bring in a guy like Kevin Owens, who in my opinion, Kenny, I think Kevin Owens is better than Keith Lee because Kevin Owens.
Wait, what?
Let me finish. Hold up. Kevin Owens, don't because remember he said Kevin Owens is not a normal big man. Let's get that out the way.
Bro, Keith Lee is bigger than Kevin Owens, and he can do way more shit than Kevin Owens can.
Kevin Owens is the complete package. Kevin Owens is the complete package. And he's one of your favorite stars. Kevin Owens is one of your favorite stars.
KO will always get respect from me. That's my initials too, all right? That's my namesake right there. Okay,
Kevin Owens is more of a complete package than Keith Lee. I don't care what anybody says.
But hold on a minute.
Okay.
Don't to pull the trigger.
Let me say my piece after Ricardo, because I think he kind of diverged in the wrong direction halfway through his statement. The reason why I say that is when we were speaking about last week, we said, as he said, we need to be careful with the whole entire how they handle the whole Keith Lee situation.
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of interesting for Kevin Owens to go down because I want to see a big man versus big man match. And I think Kevin Owens is the perfect person to pull that off. The perfect person. And even though you said that he can't really put people over, he still knows how to put on a great freaking match. And
he got
it. I didn't say that. I think he's got a complete package.
No. That's what I said. No. I'm saying Kenny.
Oh.
Not you. Not you.
Owens?
Not you. I'm talking about Kenny.
Wait,
Yeah.
Kevin Owens putting people over?
Yeah, I'm saying that I
Well, now he
think
can put people
he
over.
knows how to make great feuds. He made Shane McMahon relevant.
Yeah.
And no one cared about Shane McMahon. You cannot doubt what Kevin, and I feel like with all the talent that's in NXT, if you can put someone like Shane McMahon over, he can definitely like create names as far as NXT.
True.
And
Kevin Owens might make Keith Lee even better.
True.
mm-hmm.
True. And listen, and all the guys say, hey, listen, the right thing to do right now, because you have the void of storylines in NXT, put Kevin Owens there. From a ratings perspective, if you're just arguing that solely, I get it. Okay. But to me, this is at the very most a 2-month project, because you're gonna go from Keith Lee, right, to feuding with somebody that's less significant in NXT, and that's what I don't like, right? Like if you throw him into the fight with Keith Lee first, man, that's the last boss, like you alluded to earlier, Tara. You know, like at least in the past few shows, like that's the last boss right there. That's the Yonko right there. You're starting off with Keith Lee, and then you're going downhill from there. No. Like
no, I'm talking about one of the titles, because they gotta eventually do it. They gotta eventually take off that title.
But I don't think Kevin Owens is the right guy. I don't think he's the right guy to take any one of those titles off, because listen, if Finn Balor has been there since before COVID. Since before COVID started.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me that Finn Balor isn't good enough to get a title, at least around his waist, but Kevin Owens is? Like, no, absolutely not.
Listen.
It is. You have a lot of these guys. Like, I honestly think NXT UK, whoever's salvaged from that, is probably going to come to NXT main roster. And
yes, I agree with that.
They got to replace some of the big names that they had to let go of. And I feel like right now it's like fight or flight, because you got AEW coming in strong on one end, and then you got your wrestlers on the other end leaving out because of, allegations and stuff like that. You got to kind of like micromanage that in a sense. And what better way than to take a star? Like Kevin Owens is huge. Like everyone knows Kevin Owens. Yeah. If you have someone like Kevin Owens on the show, along with someone like Finn Balor, who's also big, you can kind of, still stay afloat.
Yeah, it changes the dynamic of NXT.
But my thing is, right now you have a champion in Keith Lee that desperately needs challengers, right? And from my standpoint, like if KO has the North American title, and then you give the NXT title to Finn Balor, right? That's something different. I think fans are getting new storylines with that. I think you can definitely build NXT 5 months to a year with both of them as carrying the brand. But right now, you have Keith Lee as your champion, right? And that kind of, handcuffs you to some degree, right? Because every move you make now has to be literally perfect. Now, with the Kevin Owens thing, I get it. You put him against Keith Lee, right? But Keith Lee, I'm pretty sure he's putting both of his titles on the line, right? Now, if you want to argue, sure, Kevin Owens takes one title off of Keith Lee, fine. But
I think that's better.
But hold up.
There's got to be an end game to it. There's got to be an end game.
Not only that, but Finn Balor has been sitting on the wayside far too long.
Yes.
Okay.
But
There's absolutely no way you can put a title on Kevin Owens fresh out of the main roster. I'm sorry, but there's absolutely no way you can do that.
Here's what I want to bring up. Finn Balor, since he's been off the main roster, he's been kind of taking it easy on himself. And I feel like, especially now that he's like in his 40s and stuff, he's kind of like, I feel like the schedule that they have set up for him is something that's towards his account, like where he wants more personal time as opposed to being on more often. Like if you really look at him, like Finn Balor is really just living his best life. And like he's like early 40s right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, no. He's 38, but still.
Oh damn.
Shit.
But
The
he's
guy's
chilling.
old.
Nah, but
The
like,
guy's,
Yeah, but
that
he's
guy's
chilling.
old.
Like he just got married like a year ago. He's really just chilling. And I feel like he came to the NXT roster. I feel like he's doing well, but it's also kind of giving him the time constraints that he wants. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's on his time instead of the other way around.
In terms of Finn Balor, based on what you said, Tara, I honestly think that like they haven't been using him more properly as they should have. And besides, if like Kenny said, like based on what you said, Kenny, you said like they should have given the NXT title opportunity to Finn Balor. I'm not knocking that, right? I'm not knocking that, but I'm saying like is the last time he didn't get an NXT title was against Adam Cole in a NXT taped show, and it wasn't even like a good one. It was like a decent performance based on the both of them, and we had high expectations on that match, right? Right. So technically, even though we didn't like that performance, he has been given an NXT title opportunity, and then ever since that time, he's been facing like mid-level talent like a Damian Priest and stuff like that, or Gargano that went down to the mid-card and stuff like that. In terms of Kevin Owens, like you said, they need fresh competitors. And why not have Kevin Owens, who's a flourished wrestler, who fought
Ricardo, at the end of the day, the whole purpose of sending down these talents, the May talents, so to speak, like a Finn Balor, a Charlotte, a Kevin Owens, if they go through with it, that is, to NXT in the first place is to put over the new up-and-coming stars.
Yep,
You know?
exactly.
But
And
doing that with Kevin Owens, it's kind of just looking at the recent history of Finn Balor and Charlotte being sent down there. Have they ultimately done that?
You see, the thing is, Richard, me and Richard had to talk about that. Richard had a problem with, like back then when Charlotte being on the main roster. I said, for Finn Balor, it's low-key different because like if they really wanted him back in the main roster, they would have done it ages ago or around the same time Charlotte was there, right? But the fact that they didn't shows to me that they're keeping Finn Balor. So I'm like, if they're keeping Finn Balor, I think they might do the same thing to Kevin Owens because just like Finn Balor, he faced guys in the main roster. He's a flourished competitor, right? Both him and Owens didn't have a significant run legitimately because like both of them were short-lived in NXT. So that's why if I put Kevin Owens back in the roster, it's not only to make the roster in NXT better, it's just to elevate the show even more. And just by keeping them there.
Exactly.
But you think Kenny he's gonna go. You think he's gonna stay and go? I'm saying he's gonna stay.
Why? Like, think about it. If you're Kevin Owens, you've been Universal title holder. You've been in the main event picture for a long time now. You know, you've had your great matches. You had your significant run on the main roster. He's got the biggest success.
Okay.
Right. He's had success on the main roster.
All right.
You go back to NXT, right? And you're telling me, you're sitting there telling me he needs a significant run in NXT. For what? Because he didn't have a significant run the first time?
He didn't need to.
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
At the time, it was completely different.
No. Because at that time, listen, what I said earlier, Kevin Owens literally traded a freaking burger for a steak. Like, bro, he left NXT to go to the main roster to feud with John Cena. And then after that, he became the leader of Raw, right? In having the Universal title. Yes. Right. Like, come on, man. Like, what are you like? There's nothing to discuss here, right? So Kevin Owens moved. So
to NXT. Are you saying if Kevin Owens?
Let me finish. Kevin Owens' move to NXT should strictly be about putting the brand over and not winning anything like significant, like title runs or anything like that, because he wants
to. That's what I think he's gonna stay there to put people over. And the only reason why I say he's going to stay there is because it's his decision. Like I said from the beginning, that's what he said. It's his decision to be there. Do I think it will help? Yeah. Like you said, I don't think he really needs to have a title to put people over. But
That's true.
I think like in the past, he's had like numerous storylines where he didn't have a title, but yet for some reason he was the main storyline out of all the storylines over there. And that's one thing Kevin Owens is good at, is telling a story and, making something relevant. And that's why I think NXT right now, if you're trying to bring some hype, some news, or some kind of eyes towards it, Kevin Owens would be kind of perfect, because who else?
I don't know, man. Maybe. Look. I can argue that Dolph Ziggler, if you stick Dolph Ziggler in that role, I can argue that he can make as big of an impact as a Kevin Owens.
The reason why
you can enforce somebody else to do that too.
But the thing is, you act like if Kevin Owens goes to NXT, it's almost like a downgrade. I'm like put Kevin Owens in NXT.
No. I'm just saying.
He's changing the whole dynamic. He's changing
everything. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. The reason why I think he wants to go to NXT is because, I mean, let's be real. Even though no one really wants to stay in the WWE world, NXT is the bigger show. NXT is the big show.
Right now, yeah.
But now I think they're trying to, because it's on USA, they're trying to make it more mainstream. Like the other shows, and that was what he said, is that if anyone can make it like Raw or SmackDown, it would be him.
But that's the worst thing he could possibly say. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if this is your biggest show, would I not want to be on the biggest show as opposed to the two shows that no one really watches?
Right. So, and I think the politically correct answer is, I want to make NXT, be more mainstream, right? Like that's the more like. Yeah. But that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like it's bullshit. We all know you want to go to NXT because you're tired of the main roster bullshit. That's the only reason why you want to go back to NXT. And you saw Finn Balor living his best life. You could say that you're older now, and you want to coast at the end of your career.
You could also say that like he wants to go back to NXT because of how he was being used in the past recent years in the main roster.
I just said that. Tired of the main roster bullshit, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Tired of the main roster bullshit. He's hungry. The dude is hungry.
Nah, the only thing he's hungry for is coasting. He wants to coast, all right? Coast, get paid, and go home. He ain't hungry for nothing, man. None of these cats are hungry. They signing 5-year deals left and right, man. They ain't hungry. They're not hungry.
Listen, not for nothing, Kevin Owens at his absolute best right now could be better suited to helping Monday Night Raw and the product there than NXT.
Yes.
NXT has the tools it needs necessary to rebuild themselves. They have the roster. If you pay it low key, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Just from the last few weeks, 2-3 weeks of NXT television, from what I've seen, it has been better. The product has slowly but surely gotten better in quality than the previous 3 months since quarantine began.
But you gotta be honest, like when we spoke about this discussion on Keith Lee holding 2 titles, we did say that it is backing them into a corner.
Yes.
Now, how they need to get out, they need to tread very lightly.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Who on NXT right now, aside from Finn Balor, can kind of help this situation or alleviate the situation?
Aside from Finn Balor, you're taking everybody away from me, Tara.
No, because Tampa has been MIA. Gargano went down to a mid-carder. They're lessening their roles in NXT.
As far as something that's new, like you're trying to, it's not just NXT by itself anymore. It's NXT against AEW. You're trying to win this feud. Yep. Like you can't recycle the same matches from the same men that's been kind of holding down the company for so long. You need
and that's why they'll probably go through with Kevin Owens.
But you need a new headliner.
I think Kevin Owens can handle that kind of storyline, make it bigger than it is,
Listen, you want to get a few weeks out of Kevin Owens coming back to NXT, challenging Keith Lee for the title, and ultimately putting him over. That's it. I am perfectly fine with that idea because then NXT is going to have the edge over AEW.
That's what I'm saying. I think Kevin Owens could do that, and then even after that, I still feel like he can have like bullshit storylines, and he'd still put people over.
But that's the thing. Man. NXT don't need some old veteran guy running around the block. Like
exactly,
bro.
Ultimately, they got to put the spotlight on the newer faces.
Exactly. Like I'm
wanted that from Charlotte.
NXT. Charlotte was different. She was coming there to win a title, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then put the whole division on note. Like the story around Charlotte was different. You know, she won the Royal Rumble, right? That's nothing like that. Like it's nothing like this. You have a graduate that's coming back to teach a course in a class that he's already passed.
But I think what you're missing over is the fact that NXT isn't. I don't think that NXT is that anymore. What we once knew it as, which was the graduation school. I think they're now, because it's on mainstream television and it's on USA, they are trying to make this a mainstream show.
Yes,
right.
So now you can't think about it as, oh, well, NXT, like you came from NXT, why are you going back to NXT? NXT is not right now their hottest show. So I feel like they're bringing in these people because they're trying to integrate that talent. Like everyone is on the same level, as opposed to these people are below me and I'm the main roster and this is NXT. Like now it's like, oh shit, like I want to be on the hottest show. I don't want to freaking be on freaking SmackDown and Raw where like no one's watching me.
And we're talking about an NXT alumni who knows the dynamic and knows what to do with it even better with the better superstar. That's
fine. You can incorporate them into the show, but I don't want them there for 5 months.
Not long term.
Shit.
Listen. But
bringing him down is still a help, though.
Yeah, but just to wrap it all up,
it will.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what WWE has up their sleeve. We'll see where they go from here. I still maintain, I don't think it's a bad idea that they have Kevin Owens ultimately put over Keith Lee and get a short ratings increase.
It's a great idea. Yeah. For a month.
Yeah, you can easily get 2, 3, maybe even a full month out of that.
If Finn Balor can stay for more than 5 months, so can Kevin Owens.
But dude, too much of that is a problem. That's where I'm coming from.
But no one's talking shit about Finn Balor, though.
Listen, hold up. Because see, that's where I wanted to go. Finn Balor is a different story. He was the first one to come back, right? Like I think he came back before Charlotte, right?
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, right. He was the first person to come back. So like, bro, like we have never seen anything like that before. So Finn Balor is the exception to the rule. Okay? All right? The first time doesn't, like, you fuck up with Finn Balor, but you get it right with everybody else. Just like you fuck up with your first kid that you have, right? And then you kind of sort of get it right with the other kids. Okay? This is exactly what it is.
Damn, Kenny.
But the thing is, though, Finn Balor is still his own entity. Like, he just does his own thing on NXT.
Exactly.
Look at it.
Exactly. Yep.
It's not like he's told what to do or anything. He's literally doing his own thing. If he wants a challenge, he'll go for a challenge. If he doesn't, then he's not.
Right. And get this. We don't need 2 people acting like that on one show. That's dangerous. Trust me. You don't need that. I don't need 2 people running like they own the shit. No. There's Finn can do him. All right. Everybody else, do your shit in NXT and get the fuck out.
Right. But we'll see like I said earlier, we'll see what they have up their sleeve. And hopefully it won't be to the detriment of anybody over there. Moving on here, Dolph Ziggler, a man who we all can agree has been heavily underutilized by the WWE and has had his fair share of start and stop pushes over the past decade, was being interviewed by TalkSport the other day, and he revealed some pretty strong feelings towards the way things are run over in the E. He name-dropped a few notable names in the wrestling business during the interview that have been big supporters of him throughout his run there, namely Eric Bischoff and the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
And The Rock.
And The Rock, exactly. He then joked about how if they owned the WWE and not Vince McMahon, that he would be in the position that Randy Orton is in right now with his legacy. He talked of a big game with Flair and Bischoff, praising him and his overall ability in the interview, and The Rock as well, even co-signing him as a world champion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just looking at what he had to say in the interview, I'd be lying if I said Dolph Ziggler is completely wrong with what he said here. Like, I'd have to agree that, yes, Ziggler could be as impactful as Randy Orton and have the kind of legacy that he possesses. Had the right people who had faith in the man were able to push the guy. Like, Dolph Ziggler has had flashes of being a main event player for any wrestling promotion he is in, with his undeniable charisma, his great wrestling ability, as well as selling his ass off to make his opponents look better. He always makes everyone he's in the ring with look like $1 million with his selling. He is near great on the mic. What else could you really ask for? Like, Ziggler can go toe to toe with the best of them. Period. Especially when he's motivated. And I'll be honest, barring any injuries, I put more trust on Ziggler than I would Randy Orton in terms of not getting into trouble.
Okay.
You said,
okay,
hold up.
I see.
The king goes first.
I see.
You hit a nerve.
All right.
Yeah, I did.
The king goes first. So hold up. All right. First of all, you said
that was strong.
You said the only important thing. The only important thing you said was that he could have been great, right? The biggest thing that you said was if he wasn't injured always. And that is my biggest problem with Dolph Ziggler. Guys, I preach this every single time, okay?
What do you
best
preach?
Ability is availability, okay? The best ability is availability. If you're not there for me, when I call your number, there is absolutely no way that I can trust you with the reins. And that's what we've seen with Dolph Ziggler, right? Like, guys, it's not rocket science. It really isn't. All you have to do is come to work, right? And do your job, go home, collect the check, and that's that. Dolph has done that for a long time, but he has never, during his championship runs, he has failed to consistently stay healthy. And that has been the biggest detriment, right, to his career, his health.
Well, I was also going to say, you remember like a while back when we were talking about Britt Baker and how she has 2 careers, and like you guys were like how she needs to commit to one so she could be the best at that one.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing with Dolph. I feel like although he's good at wrestling, he does wrestling because he's good at it. Like he's naturally talented.
Right?
But he doesn't really do it because this is his passion. His passion that he's been very open about for so long is that he wants to be a comedian. Even if you look at his like page, it literally says in his About Me section, stand-up comic, period. I wrestled to pay the bills, period.
That's a comedy. That's a comedy thing in and of itself, though.
No,
it's not.
But he's like said it several times on like interviews and stuff that that's something that he wants to do. And I feel like even though I'm not saying he doesn't have the ability to be as great as someone like Randy Orton, but I don't think he would manifest it only because he's not into wrestling that much. Like
Nah, bro. Like, y'all lost this one, bro. Just quit.
Like I feel like this is not what he's truly passionate about. Like he just does it because, I mean,
it's done. It's over.
It's cool.
Y'all lost this one. Y'all lost this one.
Okay. How to say y'all lost? We didn't even hear my shit yet.
You lost.
Shut up.
You lost. All right. So say whatever you gotta say, but you lost.
Ricardo, you got my back on this one.
Do I have you? I'm sorry. I don't. I don't. I love you, bro. But like because like everybody knows. No, hear me out. You have to understand this. You have to understand this. You have to understand this, Abba.
Terry, you called it. He played.
What? No. First, no.
Oh,
yeah, she called it. She freaking called it. He was played. Yeah.
Look. Dolph Ziggler is one of my. Dolph Ziggler is one of my favorite superstars. Honestly, he really is one of my favorite superstars. But then, as soon as Kenny brought up the best ability is availability, I can't beat that, man. I can't beat that. Wait. You know what else?
Kara brought up a good point too, man.
She did. Because, like, I'm not going to front because, like, you know who else who else reminded me when Kenny said that? Who really could have been great? Ember Moon. Ember Moon is the same shit. Same thing.
Yo, Abba,
right?
I just looked at your reaction right now, and that was priceless, man. That
was because man, like
I can't believe this.
Dolph Ziggler.
Are you serious, man?
Yes, I'm serious because like there's one thing to be happy, but despite it's your birthday, like I'm not agreeing with you on your birthday.
Forget that for a second. Just go ahead.
No, but like in all seriousness, Dolph Ziggler could compete with anybody in the ring and shit like that. But like, I can't knock someone who's nice but always gets injured. If you're not here, I can't work with you. Okay. And with Dolph Ziggler, he said he was mentioned by 3 Hall of Famers in Rock, Flair, and Bischoff, right? 3 great men that changed the game in wrestling, right? But
I agree.
If you got a guy in Dolph Ziggler who Tara just brought up that his passion is towards comedy than wrestling, he changed the whole dynamic of his career just based on that alone. He's not looking forward to do wrestling anymore. It's almost like he's on his way out and he doesn't want it anymore. He lost his passion for the ring and now he turned his passion into comedy. Same thing with The Rock. He changed his passion to acting, which he is right now one of the greatest actors, highest paid actors now, to wrestling. So I can't knock what Kenny and Tara said because his passion is out the window in terms of wrestling, despite how much I fucks with him in the ring.
It's ABBA against the world, huh?
Damn right, it's ABBA against the world. It's your 21st birthday.
Getting mad silent. We're just like.
I wasn't even asking for this. Like, oh my god.
Because it's your 21st birthday. You're in the big leagues now. Okay, big boy rules.
Okay.
Welcome to adulthood, bro. You're 21.
It's full of betrayals.
I don't care.
Yeah.
He gotta face this sometimes.
Okay.
He gotta be like that. Kenny knows. I know. Tara knows. We all been through that.
It's full of heartbreaks. That's all.
Heartbreak.
Yeah, I'm feeling the heartbreak.
Betrayal and heartbreak makes the best man out of you sometimes. You know, it's what you got to do after. Okay?
Okay. So hear my stance. Hear my argument out. Because I got more to say.
Sure.
Dolph Ziggler's very injury prone. We no denying that. But what about Randy Orton? Isn't he pretty injury prone himself?
Nope. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Randy Orton has gotten into trouble in terms of like him being suspended and stuff like that.
Okay.
It was not really the last legitimate injury he had was the torn rotator cuff. That was a torn rotator cuff against Triple H. I remember that night against Triple H before the decade started. All right, that was the last time he's been injured. Ever since then, it's only been suspension or whenever he's been on breaks, like vacation or whatnot. It was never due to injury.
And Abba, and I think I just want to say one thing about that. And you got to figure, being the son of a legend, kind of helps him.
You don't say.
He has leverage.
Okay, but listen to this. But don't you think that with Randy Orton and the amount and his fair share of injuries over the 2 decades he's been with the company, and compounded by the fact that he has gotten himself into more than enough trouble, doesn't that not help his case?
But here's the difference.
Ziggler hasn't been as injured as that amount. Here's
the difference. At the time, right, that Randy Orton was huge, because now, see, you brought Randy Orton into this, right? And now I'm going to have to check you on that, right? Because if you're talking about Randy Orton against Dolph Ziggler, you have to look at the career trajectory from the start to finish. Randy had an early career injury, right? Early on in his career, he had an injury that put him out for a significant amount of time, right? But that was the only injury that actually put him out for a significant amount of time, right? So and by the next time he had an injury that put him out for a significant amount of time, guess what? He's already had a few world titles in between them. and lengthy reigns too.
That injury was right after his legacy shit. Literally, right after.
Exactly. So for me, right, from a not only from a talent standpoint, because I don't think I can argue. I don't think I can win against you against the talent argument, because I think you'd win. I think Dolph Ziggler is probably the most talented superstar today, right? And I'm not going to argue that with you, Randy Orton included, right? But I think there's something to be like the difference between him and Randy is just strictly the genes, because he's the son of a former Hall of Famer, which his father is a Hall of Famer, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, the son of a Hall of Famer, and Randy got blessed by Triple H and Ric Flair earlier on, and like he had all of these things fall into place for him.
He had a platform for him set up.
Right, like he like Randy Orton had a blueprint made out for him, before he stepped foot in the ring. Like he had people help him get there. But a guy like Dolph Ziggler, where his passion, right, is towards something else, but he uses wrestling to pay the bills. Well, guess what? That's different, man. You can't have a real, career out of that. You can't let guys like Vince can't trust you anymore if you don't breathe, eat, sleep wrestling. That's how you make it to be Randy Orton. That's how you get to that level. I'll forgive you on that, Tara. You cannot be Randy Orton if you don't have
I'm saying if he
in wrestling to do so. You can't.
No, but you have to kind of say, like, to a certain extent, he's naturally talented.
He is like
this man is literally using his will of a pinky. Like, he is just using the talent of his pinky right now. He's not using his full-blown talent, honing in on that. I feel like if he really, really actually cared about wrestling, like actually gave a shit, gave two shits, he could be there.
Yeah, if Kenny, pretty much Kenny is saying, like, if Dolph Ziggler ain't all in into the table, if he was all in,
if you're not all in,
if he's not all in, if he was all in, he'll be a legend already. Seriously, like
no, but that's why I was on the side that was my argument.
Of course.
Boy,
you're welcome, Ricardo, for us showing
where
joking.
What else you got, Abba?
Y'all said Dolph. Listen, that's why I vehemently 100% disagree. You're telling me Dolph Ziggler his number one passion in life, his reason for living was pro wrestling and nothing else. That was his biggest detriment because he had comedy on the side. I don't think so. No.
Yes. Here's why. Yes.
He was passionate.
Okay. Time out. It has less to do about the comedy and more to do about your will and your drive to be better than anyone else.
Yes.
Doesn't really want to be there.
Right. Dolph Ziggler doesn't have the drive to be better than John Cena.
Can you blame him with all the shit that they've been giving him over the past few years?
Let me finish. Because he already thinks he is. Okay. There's one thing. You have talent and all that, right? We all agree. Dolph Ziggler is probably the most talented wrestler we've seen. He's up there.
Yes, he is.
He's an all-time great, talented wrestler. Okay, that is that's a no-brainer. But where we draw the line is he willing to put in the work?
Work, yes.
Okay,
he has been putting in the work.
Hold up. Talent without works, right? Without work to show for it, you ain't getting anywhere. He got somewhere, right, with the world titles, right? But he wasn't able to do anything with it. Okay, and that was because of his he reminds me of Derrick Rose, the most talented, one of the most talented, athletes.
That's a great comparison
of a given generation. But he always the biggest detriment to Dolph Ziggler is Dolph Ziggler. He stops himself. That's the big it's not the E, because the E gave you a shot, right? You always had injuries, and then when you didn't have injuries, you got into disputes with the E because of your contract and disputes and everything like that, right? you took a leave of absence, right, for a lengthy period of time. Remember that? And then he came back, right?
Yeah.
So
It was because he was pursuing comedy.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
plus,
Exactly. He was on tour.
And plus, you know what else, Abba? If you look down the road, since you said like he's been putting in the work. If you look back and he's been putting in the work, at the same time, he had multiple disputes with Vince. Multiple disputes with Vince. That's how he
that's a given his lack of a push.
No. But the thing is,
Right.
but the thing is, when it comes to wrestling, you gotta accept that not at all times. There are times that you would not be used, but you can be used in a different way. That's what Randy Orton acknowledged. Since you brought up Randy Orton, Orton acknowledged that. The reason I'm bringing up Shawn Michaels because we all agree he reminds us of a young Shawn Michaels. He acknowledged that all the all-time greats acknowledge that there are.
Remember,
I got you, Kenny. I got you. That there are times that you are not going to be used all the time, but to be used differently. The fact that he couldn't accept that for a lengthy period of time devalued his worth in the WWE and for his one it factor to be successful in the WWE, which made him want to do other things like comedy.
And remember, when Shawn Michaels didn't accept it, right, he got tired and left. When he came back and finally accepted this role, right, that's when he became a legend.
Yes.
Okay, that's when okay, like this is the real Shawn Michaels now. Like the best Shawn Michaels that we saw was on the back end of his career, right? And maybe that might be the case for Dolph Ziggler.
It can because he's still young.
But right now, man, if you don't breathe, eat, sleep the business, there's no way they can give the reins to you. And that's where Dolph Ziggler fell short. Was that he wasn't willing to, sacrifice his comedy career, right? Like, think about it. What The Rock did. The Rock did one of the smartest things we've ever seen, right?
Yep.
Focused on wrestling, right? And then after wrestling, laid his exit plan to get out. And then, do acting on the, he wasn't splitting time between the two. Like at some point, like when he was making that transition, he did, but it wasn't until the back end of his career that he made that transition. But Dolph is trying to do the same thing at once. One thing,
he's going back.
He's trying to be a comedy star, right, and a wrestling star, right? And right now, it's just.
Well, I guarantee you, right now, if Comedy Central gave him a whole tour for a whole year, he would quit WWE.
He'll take it.
He would quit WWE.
He'll take it. Yep, he'll take it. He has no need to stay in WWE at this point.
And that.
Well, honestly,
says a lot.
Real talk. I think when he was world title, when he had the world title, right, and Comedy Central made him one of those offers, I think he would really, really, really entertain leaving the company for that gig.
He would definitely leave the company for that gig because that's his dream.
He would do that. I can see him doing that.
So for me personally, like it's a no-brainer, bro. If you're not like, and they know this. You don't think Triple H knows this? That Dolph doesn't eat, sleep, breathe this business. Why am I going to invest millions in this man, right? If he's not going to, put on a company hat and toe the line, like why would I do that?
And
this is the conversation they have every single day. Why do you think Roman Reigns looks like that? Roman Reigns eats, breathes, and sleeps. Like, no matter how much we want to hate him, he's a company guy. He's a company. Undertaker, company guy. Cena was a company guy. Stone Cold, to some degree, Stone Cold was definitely a company guy.
Yeah, Stone Cold.
Rock was a company guy.
Rock
was a company guy for whenever he was there. Right?
Not because and the thing is, you know what it is, Abba, with Dolph Ziggler about like these meetings and whatnot. Think about it like this. I'm Vince, right? And Kenny's Dolph Ziggler. If I hear a knock on my door and it's Dolph Ziggler, I'm Vince him like, what is it now? What do you got to talk about? He comes in with more problems. And even if he comes with solutions, the boss doesn't want to hear either of them. They want him to do the work in terms of being in the ring, because that's what matters, right? The fact that he's like second guessing himself in terms of the wrestling and not putting all the work in, it makes Vince, Triple H, and others not not trusting him entirely with the brand. Like, I bet you, after this title match between Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre at Extreme Rules, and when Drew McIntyre retains, I bet you're not going to see Dolph Ziggler for a period amount of time, because it's been consistent with that. Every time he has a big match, he's MIA. You don't see him for a significant amount of time. You might see that again. The only thing that's going to shut us up is if he wins the world title and if Dolph Ziggler actually takes shit seriously.
That's not happening.
Exactly. It will change so dynamic. That's the only way that we will see him. They will take him seriously. But even though we know that that's not going to happen, I won't be surprised you won't see him for a significant amount of time after this title match he has with Drew McIntyre. I bet you're not going to see him for like a minute.
Are you all done?
Yeah, because he's been consistent.
Good. I got nothing. I agree with
Happy
you guys.
birthday, bro.
We're gonna get fucked up later.
Happy birthday, bro.
That meme I shared in our chat is literally what we're gonna be later.
Yeah, these listeners are just hearing it all firsthand here.
Yo, Kenny, Tara, my man A.B.A felt heartbreak and betrayal at early 21 on his birthday. You have to feel that. We love
I'm
you,
feeling
A.B.A,
it.
but you have to
I'm
feel
feeling
that.
it.
How about this? For our listeners to continue celebrating A.B.A.'s birthday, we will post stories of our celebrations later tonight.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Oh, man. I'm looking forward to that.
I don't know if that's a good idea, but,
What do you mean it's not a good idea?
It'll be a great idea.
Listeners need to know.
You gotta show the social side of the podcast, yo. You gotta do that.
Exactly, right?
we did that on a
Listeners
personal
need to
account.
be there with us while we're celebrating.
Fine. Okay. Fine. You guys have access to the Instagram accounts. What do I know, right?
Oh, man.
Someone does. But you know what? We'll end it there for this week. Thanks to everyone checking out episode 27 of Wrestling Hypothesis. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram, like we just mentioned, for any updates on whether we will be bringing the show on Saturday or Sunday, such as today, and news items that we will go over that week on the show.
If A.B.A is still alive by next week, we'll see.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Yes, we will be back probably next Sunday for episode 28. So until then, enjoy your week and have a good one, guys. Take care.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Bye.